Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pacifica High School and the League of Women Voters Candidates Forum for those candidates running for Oxnard City Council. We invited all 11 candidates. 2 of them sent their regrets. 3 others apparently haven't shown up yet. I'm David Marin, a member of the League of Women Voters, which is open to men. I've been a member for many years. And before we begin tonight, I'd like to introduce the co-president of the League of Women Voters to welcome you, Kathy Morgan.
Thank you, David. The League of Women Voters was founded in 1920 with the mission of educating a new group of voters, women, who were granted the right to vote nationwide with the passage of the 19th Amendment. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization committed to providing voters with factual, non-biased information, and as such does not support a particular candidate or political party. The League today continues with the mission of empowering voters and defending democracy by registering voters, providing information about the candidates and the issues, getting out the vote, and supporting fair and transparent elections. The candidate forums are an opportunity for voters to hear from the various candidates and get the information they need to make an informed choice when they vote. We are glad that you are here tonight to hear from our candidates. Thank you for coming. And I want to thank all the candidates for running for office. It's a big commitment and we appreciate it. The League of Women Voters, we thank you all. And at this time, I would like to turn it back to David Marin. Thank you.
So we're going to have opening statements in just a moment. We'll begin with Daniel and we'll work our way down to Angela. But I want to let you know we have not a surprise for you tonight, but something I think you're all going to enjoy. We have worked with the Oxnard Union High School District to involve students in preparing a couple of questions tonight. So the Oxnard School District has a program, and they've worked with the League of Women Voters to provide an opportunity to offer the students of our community a way to be active participants in our local government. The district is excited that several students have chosen to participate in a variety of ways. Oxnard Union High School District is in its 4th year of offering the State Seal of Civic Engagement, which encourages students to be actively involved problem solvers in their communities. We hope that you will be hearing from more students in the years ahead. So later on, candidates, I'll be sharing a couple of questions that our students prepared. But at this time, we're going to go ahead and get started with the opening statements. We originally thought there'd be 11 candidates, so we gave them 30 seconds. They're just going to introduce themselves, then we'll get to your questions, which will take 1 minute for answers. So Daniel, whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Thank you and good evening. For nearly a decade, I have been a very strong advocate for the residents of the city of Oxnard, and for the past 5 years, a dedicated public servant serving on local, county, and regional boards. My passion is for the residents of Oxnard. It's been that since day one when I started to get civically engaged in our community. And as your next councilman, I will continue to fight for every single resident across our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel is running in District 4. Our next candidate, Arthur Valenzuela, is running in District 6.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arthur Valenzuela Jr. I'm the current council member for District 6, also a longshoreman for my day and night job at the Port of Wainimi. For the past 10 years, I've been actively involved in my community, either through as a student trustee for the community college district here, to being involved in local organizations, actually the person who brought forward district elections to Oxnard with a lawsuit, but hoping to be reelected to continue doing the good work of bringing equitable resources to South Oxnard. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Michaela Perez, also District 6.
Buenas noches a todos. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and for all of our young people that have been a part of the civic engagement process. My name is Micaela Perez, and I'm running to represent Oxnard City Council in District 6, the South Oxnard area of our community. I run programming here at Pacifica High School and among high schools all throughout the district, specifically in our district, District 6, a historically underserved community. I have the support of principals, teachers, and leaders all across our community in District 6. I believe that civic engagement is an important piece. Thank you.
Got to stop you there. And our next candidate, and we'll hold the applause, please, Well, next candidate will be Oscar Madrigal from number 3.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Oscar Madrigal. I am the current City Council member for District 3. This forum is taking place here at Pacifica High School, which is a part of District 3. Over the last 8 years, I've served as the council member for the city of Oxnard, particularly in this district, which is everything east of Oxnard Boulevard and north of 5th Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Gabriela Rodriguez from District 4.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Gabriela Rodriguez, and I am a proud product of the Oxnard School District. Went to Driftwood School, Haydock, now known as Manuel Lopez Academy of the Arts, Oxnard High School before going to UC Santa Barbara, and later getting my master's at California Lutheran University. I am a community advocate, an award-winning educator, and a champion for connecting non-traditional leaders to become active participants of our civic democracy.
Thank you. And our next candidate is Angela Whitecomb, District 4.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. I want to thank the League of Voters for putting this presentation on. I am the chair of the Downtown Merchants District, or Downtown Improvement Association. It's come under many names. I am also the chair of the Wilson Neighborhood and the chair of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. I've been volunteering with our community over 20 years, and I look forward to serving you as council member for District 4.
Okay, thank you. The league offers candidates who are unable to attend the ability to send a statement. 2 of them took us up on that, so I'll read you their statements. This first one is from Veronica Robles Solis. Hello, I deeply regret to inform you that I'll be unable to attend the City Council forum due to the passing of my grandmother yesterday morning. My family and I will be flying out to Mexico City this evening. It's important to me that the community knows my absence is due to this personal loss and not a lack of commitment to participating in this important forum. I kindly request that when the candidates for District 4 are announced, you mention that I was unable to attend due to family bereavement. Thank you very much. The other statement is from Aaron Starr, who is running in District 3. Aaron Starr is the founder of Moving Oxnard Forward, a community organization working to restore greater accountability at City Hall. He's disappointed he's unable to join tonight because of his attendance at a previously scheduled neighborhood meeting being held at the same time. Professionally, Aaron is the financial controller at Haas Automation, a local company employing over 1,400 workers. Aaron's priorities are 1, reducing the cost of housing for Oxnard families, 2, supporting stronger community policing to prevent crime, and 3, addressing the negative impacts of homelessness in our neighborhoods and parks. Please visit Aaron Starr's website, starforoxnard.com, for more information. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Arthur, you're up first. I'm going to give you a question from our audience. Partnerships are important as a council member. Describe the types of partnerships you have with county leaders and others who you work with and expect to work with. 1 minute.
Yes, thank you very much. As a current council member, I've had the relationship with several school board members from Wainimi, Oxnard, Oxnard Union High School District, and Community College District members. Also have relationship with executive staff members for county public health, and have had these conversations with them of how we can educate our fellow local elected officials and how to be more proactive in terms of public health and behavioral health, because I think a lot of people come to us as council members and where we can refer people to. Unfortunately, that's not our training or jurisdiction as a city council member, but we have to learn those how to navigate these jurisdictions within county government as well. So definitely lining up future aspects for the local council members, myself, and others. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to jump around. Oscar, you're next. Partnerships are important. Tell us about your view on partnerships and any that from county leaders and others that are working with you.
Thank you very much. As a council member, I understand the aspect of having good partnerships. with other government agencies and groups. The importance is solving all of our issues. And realistically speaking, nothing's going to be solved just by the city. It does take the aspect of working together with either school boards, county officials, and getting something done. Simply put, some of the issues that our city faces are not just issues faced here in the city, but that are faced throughout the county and the region. So working together not only helps us, but at the same time, it creates a good bonding experience, a good mentorship, and overall helps us for the future. As a council member, you are taught to do what's best for the residents of the city, and doing so is building those partnerships with other agencies for the betterment of this community.
Thank you. Angela, share with us your views on partnerships, ones you have and ones you plan to make.
Thank you. It's an excellent question. I have built many partnerships over my years with volunteering with the high schools and the elementary school. I'm friends with Anna DeGenna, who's the superintendent of the Oxnard Elementary School District. I've formed close relationships with local business owners to improve the downtown area. I've also worked with county staff and Vinia Lopez, and I'm friends with some of our high school principals, like Miss Shannon Scott at Rio Mesa, and I think we really need to build these teams and realize that it's all one community and we are just cogs in the wheel. And without cooperation, nothing will move forward.
Thank you. Daniel, let's hear your thoughts.
Thank you. As already mentioned during my opening statement, for nearly a decade, I have been actively engaged with our city, which allowed me the opportunity to get to build those bonds and relationships with our city leaders, our city staff, county, as well as on the regional level. One of the boards that I serve on is the Ventura County Transportation Commission. There are 17 members. All 5 supervisors are on there and 1 representative of every city in our county. Those are relationships that I've been building over the past 5 years with them and will assist me in tackling the regional issues that we have as a community. Partnerships are important because it's an ecosystem when we think about our communities. One cannot operate without the other. We all need to work together, from education to the city to county government, in order to be able to lift up our community and elevate them to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. And Gabriella, share with us your views on partnerships, ones you have, ones you hope to make.
Thank you. I believe partnerships are imperative to our success. Our shared values and vision needs to come to life, and that's only possible when we all work together. I think we need to work on regional solutions for local issues. And some examples that I have of doing that, I've been working at the community college here in Oxnard for the last 9 years. And the Swap Meet Justice is one of the many partnerships that I've been instrumental in bridging to our community. So we need to be culturally responsive and sensitive to the communities that we serve. And so instead of expecting folks to come through the door and tap into the services, that was a very unique way of us bringing services into the swap meet, which is very unorthodox, but very effective. So the last Sunday of each month at Oxnard College, we not only have attorneys who volunteer their time, but now we have behavioral health, mental health, public services, nonprofits. Besides being at the community college for the last 9 years, I used to work in the nonprofit sector. So I did 10 years of service to my community through Future Leaders of America, and I have many other partnerships.
Thank you. Michaela, we'll wrap up with you.
It's a crucial piece of being on city council. It's something that I do every day in my job, collaborating with the school district to make sure that all of our students and their families have the resources that they need to be successful, whether it's housing opportunities, food, access, educational and economic pathways. This is something that is so important for South Oxnard when it comes to investing in opportunities and making sure that our South Oxnard residents have access to opportunities. I also do this in my personal life as a nonprofit board member for Friends of Field Workers, where I connect our farm workers to monthly resources and making sure that they have the opportunities to be able to have hazard pay as well as laundry resources for the area. I also have strong relationships with folks at the county level. I'm proud to be supported by many supervisors there to be able to continue partnerships around addressing our housing issues and being able to ensure that all of our families have wraparound services in the
Thank you,
community.
Michaela. I have to stop you there. All right, we'll continue with the next question, and this will be one from our students. Michelle Calderon would like to ask this question. And I really enjoy seeing these student questions. It gives us a new perspective. We are going to start with you, Michaela, on this question. How will you encourage local businesses and organizations to adopt more sustainable practices that benefit our beaches and oceans? So how will you encourage our local organizations to actually do this, even though you can't mandate? Tell us about your plans.
Yes, the health and safety of our community in South Oxnard and District 6 is important. South Oxnard residents have been impacted by many environmental issues in our area, and I'm proud to sit as the 5th District appointee for the Ventura County Climate Emergency Council, where I'm able to bring and think about resources to invest in Oxnard when it comes to ensuring that we are prepared to remove the Ormond Beach Superfund site. Many of our families there are within proximity. We also face many issues around air pollution. So making sure that we address this issue from a public health lens is really important. As I have a background in public health, I bring that lens to the community to be able to ensure that at all aspects of the decision-making process that we prioritize the health and safety of our community. I'm proud to continue to be supported by many environmental groups, including CAUSE, that will lead the forefront of many issues, and also
Thank
our
you, Michaela.
local
I'm going to have to
organizations.
stop you there.
Thank
Keep an eye on the timer, please. Angela, you're up next. Share with us how you will encourage local businesses and organizations to adopt more sustainable practices that benefit our beaches and oceans.
One of the first things that you can do is model the good behavior that you want to see. I am a local business, and this is one of the things that I've implemented in with my own company, is trying to make sure that with construction that there's a lot less waste, because there's a ton of waste when you have a new project. Also, we could provide incentives and invite them to participate in beach cleanups and neighborhood cleanups, and really make the businesses understand that they're part of the community and they're valued members of our community, and that they too have a stake in making sure that Oxnard is clean and safe for everybody. And I think that if we work on building these relationships and model these behaviors, that we can be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. And Arthur, same question to you.
Thank you. So one of the things that I tried moving forward with the city council was bringing up the conversation of reach codes. So that way when we have new development for business, for commercial building, or for individual building, that, or also for vehicles, like we are trying to move towards reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. And the purpose of reach codes is to move beyond state codes for reducing our greenhouse gases. So that was one of the things I tried moving forward as a council member. Unfortunately, didn't move through committee, but that's okay. That's democracy. But also trying to also been participating in local beach cleanups as well along Ormond Beach. Just on September 21st, our California Coastal Cleanup Day, and also been working with Sea Frog in order to monitor black carbon in Oxnard, so that way we can move towards greener health for all of us. And that's why I'm endorsed by nurses and healthcare workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabriela, same question to you. How will you encourage businesses to do sustainable practices?
I definitely agree with incentivizing green practices. I know that in different spaces, for example, community colleges, folks can go and do an audit of how, like, do we use LED lights? How are we recycling? How are we taking responsibility for our impact to the environment? And possibly providing tax exemptions or incentivizing the good practices that we want to see throughout our community. Also, recycling drives and properly tossing equipment or electronics or things that aren't no longer needed. And again, providing incentives for these small businesses. I think it begins with education, and I think there's a ripple effect when we highlight and promote additional folks doing the right thing. So I think as a city, there's simple ways of highlighting who is doing good work, and similar to showcasing our students in downtown Oxnard for graduating from the community college. I would like to promote small businesses.
Thank you. Daniel, same question to you.
Thank you for
It's on.
Thank you for the question. As a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard and growing up in South Oxnard, and a single parent mother, the beach was our vacation. It was our destination on the weekends. There just wasn't enough money to go and travel outside. So one of the boards that I had served on was 2 years as the vice chair on the Ventura County Climate Emergency Council when it first got established. And we were pushing for more environmental justice measures that kept our beaches, kept our air quality, kept our environment safe for all of our families. One of the big things that I pushed was for transportation. Coming from a transportation background for 10 years, I know that we can take steps in order to reduce those greenhouse gases, but it's going to require us to take those bold and out-of-the-box thinking steps. Thank you.
Thank you. And Oscar, same question to you.
Thank you very much. The aspect of we need to demonstrate through education the importance of what we are asking to do. And that goes a long way because we need to see that this is a long-term issue that is going to require everyone to kind of get involved. Yes, this is specifically to the business sector. At the same time, we need to practice what we preach. And I feel that if we're pushing for this, then the city needs to be leaders in this. We need to do exactly what we're asking other small businesses to do. And that goes a long way because the education aspect, we could say realistically, whatever it may be, but if we don't practice that, then those comments, those things are not really a priority for the city. If we're matching that same action, that speaks way louder than words. Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody had a chance on that one, right? Okay, I'm doing my job. We're going to move on to the next question, and we'll start with you, Oscar. What is your plan to improve the situation with homeless people, providing more services or other things to help in Oxnard?
Thank you very much. With the recent Supreme Court decision, the aspect of homelessness and tactics may change within the city, but at the end of the day, what matters first is a humane aspect to this. The aspect of homelessness can happen to anyone at any particular time. We are not that obviously far away, any of us up here or listening to us speak, that could happen to anyone. As a city, it does take that working relationship with the county. Homelessness is not something that we can stop here at the city on our own. It does require that help from the county and working with the county to push the state in order to help us have better services and get people off the streets and into proper housing. Thank you.
Thank you. And Arthur, what is your plan to improve the homelessness situation?
Yes. So first I'll state, I get off work sometimes at 2 or 3 a.m. and I drive down Saviors Road and I see these individuals, these human beings out there in the middle of the street, sometimes in front of 7-Eleven or at Starbucks. And, in my thought process, these are folks that need help right here. And I think being on the council, we've been very proactive in terms of sheltering and support services and guiding them into the right direction. Because since 2023 to 2024, after the county homeless count, Oxnard saw a 10% reduction in homelessness. So we're actually getting results. Oxnard is one of 2 cities that are moving in the right direction. And we're looking forward to May 2025 with our Casa de Carmen Navigation Center opening up in downtown Oxnard. And so that way we can provide those services for short and long-term services for these folks that need help. Thank you.
Thank you. Michaela, let's hear your plans for the homelessness situation.
Yes, homelessness is a big issue in South Oxnard. All of our residents see that as we are walking day to day, whether it's taking your child to school every day, whether it's walking home. We see it. It's a very visible thing, and I think that many of our residents could be one paycheck away from housing insecurity. And the way that homelessness is defined is a variety of different reasons. It could be couch surfing, and so I think that it's important for us to really take a collaborative approach, working with our state officials, working with our county, who has also created a plan to address and eradicate homelessness. Also, too, I think it's important that we collaborate with our local trades and our local organizations, including LIUNA, to continue to build more affordable housing in the area. And I'm proud to be able to be a champion of bringing more affordable housing to the area.
Thank you. Daniel, your plans for homelessness.
Thank you for the question. There's not just one method to be able to address homelessness. A person ending up homeless could be for a number of reasons, whether it was an injury, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's mental illness, whether it's drug addiction. The list goes on of what causes somebody to end up homeless. My goal as the next councilman for District 4 is to work with our state partners, work with our county partners. We need to be able to secure that funding sources from the state in order to establish a second navigation center. We have one that's going to be coming online, but we need a second one. But this isn't just an Oxnard problem to tackle. This is a regional problem to tackle, because it's not just us. We have neighboring to Port Hueneme, neighboring to the county with Rio, Silver Strand. We have the neighbors of Camarillo and Ventura that we all need to come together and address this issue. Again, this isn't unique to Oxnard, but Oxnard will be a leader on addressing homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela?
I live and work in the downtown area. I'm very personally aware of what's going on with our housing shortage and our homeless, our unhoused, and the people that are in need. We definitely need to work with our wraparound services so that the people that want to get help have that provided for them, and it's accessible and easy to find. And I think the city is working on that with the navigation center and all of the social services that we actually have in the downtown. With all that, we also are a city with laws. And we need to make sure that our unhoused population that chooses not to seek out those services has consequences. And they can be done humanely and with compassion, but we need to make sure that our neighborhoods are safe, that our children can enjoy the parks, that you can walk through a park without having to watch somebody light up whatever they're lighting up, inject anything that they're injecting, or use a bathroom inappropriately.
Thank you. I have to stop you. And Gabriella, will wrap up with you, your solutions for homelessness.
Sure. I think we need mixed use and affordable housing near public transportation. I agree that we need to collaborate. This is an issue that Oxnard alone can't fix. Like, we need to partner with our neighboring cities. We need to partner with the county and even with state to pull down grants to support as we grow and continue growing, making sure that families can afford to live this beautiful place. We need to work with, create a pipeline where folks can reintegrate and learn a trade or get a good paying job and transform their quality of life. So we are very fortunate to have a lot of community partners that can be part of the solution. So I think it's an all hands on deck, and all stakeholders need to come together and put their piece of the puzzle. I also think, I know that it's not just a one size fits all solution. I grew up with more than 15 people living in my house. And by definition, that would be homeless. And we just made it work because we come together when times get tough.
Thank you. Gabriella, we're going to start the next question with you. And this one gets to an issue the city regulates, which is pop-up businesses. The question is about your views on street vendors, pop-up food tents. These are businesses that some feel take away from real businesses, real restaurants, real shops. Others feel like it's a lifeline. So share with us, how would you find the right balance? Do you support these kind of businesses, or do you think they have to be treated differently?
I think we ultimately need to prioritize our Oxnard community, our Oxnard businesses, and I love myself a good taco, I'm not gonna lie, but I think we really need to make sure, there's a lot of folks coming from out of town, out of the county, and unfortunately, it becomes catch the ball, right? Is it a city issue? Is it a county issue? Depending on where folks set up their pop-up tent. And I understand that during the pandemic, some restrictions were lessened, but I really think that we need to prioritize our small businesses and our local taquerias. And if permitting is an issue, which I know it has been for a lot of small businesses to take on that strain, then how do we support the small businesses? And how do we prioritize Oxnard instead of folks finding a loophole where maybe they're not paying taxes here and contributing back to our economy? And again, folks who maybe want to support small businesses or El Paletero, then we keep that money here in Oxnard.
Thank you. Michaela, what's your philosophy? How would you deal with these types of businesses?
Yes, the health and safety of this community is a priority. And after, conducting so much research about local vendors in this community, it is true, many of them are coming from out of the city, and it's important that we also prioritize livable wages. Many of the folks that are coming in with the red pop-up tents are not being paid a livable wage. And I think that all of our community members deserve to have a livable wage, and we need to be supporting our local small businesses in the area for them to also thrive. And so for me, it is a priority that we are also working to create permitting process as well. And so I look forward to being able to utilize my partnerships to create an easier process for local community members who entrepreneurship to be able to tap into those local opportunities and generate local tax dollars here.
Thank you. And Tom, if you can let me know if I should switch her microphone later. We're going to go on to Angela. Same question with you, your views about these types of pop-up businesses, et cetera.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I agree with the ladies to my right. We definitely need to support our local businesses. And these pop-up tents, they are coming from out of town. I've been informed by some of the people that work for the county that some of them are engaging in illegal labor, human trafficking. So, and what kind of sanitation is there? Is there other wash stations? Are there restrooms? It's just not safe, and it's not good for our community. I understand that people want to make money. I'm a small business, I am an entrepreneur, but we need to support our local businesses and the people who are paying tax dollars, who are paying rent, who are trying to make Oxnard a better, cleaner, safer place that we all can thrive in. And if we're going to do that, we need to support our local businesses and shop local that are actually giving back to the people of Oxnard, which is our local small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel, same question to you.
Thank you for the question. I'm all for somebody wanting to support their families. As already mentioned, there's a sanitary component to this. When there's food standards on how to handle food, how workers are supposed to maintain themselves when they're handling food, when they're preparing food, when they're serving the food, and that's not being permitted. My suggestion on how to be able to address this is, I don't like to compare it to LA, but LA kind of got this one right in the sense of having a street vendor ordinance where they have specific locations throughout the city, throughout the community of where they can actually be a street vendor and get a permit to actually be legally out on the streets. That's the only way that we're going to be able to regulate this, ensure that the money that they are making is being recycled back into our community and support our community, because that's one of the things that are lacking right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Arthur, same question.
Thank you. Yes, so the issue of unpermitted food vendors has been growing in South Oxnard for over the past year. Fortunately, what we can do as a city is that we can respond when they have open flames. That gives us, our city staff, the ability to respond and confiscate this equipment because it's considered, it's not permitted or under health code. So we're able to respond in that sense. And yes, a lot of these folks are coming from out of town and folks that are not and folks that come in from LA and so forth, and it's not good for them, and it's not good for our community. Just last night, I was speaking with a food truck vendor and who's permitted by the county, and he was informing me how it's affecting him and his family. So I'm very aware of how this is affecting our South Oxnard families. Thank you.
Thank you. And Oscar, we'll wrap up with you on this question.
Thank you very much. The issue of food vendors without permits has been an issue within the city lately over the last, I believe, about 2 years. This issue is kind of, what can the city do? Yes, the city always can go find them, but then there's a certain limit where it becomes role of the county to remove the food. So some of these businesses just give example, $100 fine and just call that the tax. And they go on and sell for the rest of the evening. They could realistically probably get fined every day, and this is just going to serve as a tax to them, and they're going to continue as business as is. So that aspect is difficult. Also, you do have the aspect of one size does not fit all, because included within this food vendor issue is also people who are selling corn, so the elotero. People who are selling flowers technically fall under this aspect as well. So kind of little difficult
Thank you,
aspect to it.
Oscar.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get back to our student questions. This next one, I really enjoyed this one as well because it sort of reminds me that I'm not always seeing the same things that our young people see. I don't walk to school. I don't ride some of the ways that they get around. So it's a great perspective. This one comes from Treasurer Ramirez, who asks, what policies, and Angela, you'll be up first on this one. What policies might you create to make the community safer with lighting? The white light bulbs create a brighter light than the yellow ones. Would you consider adding more white lights to the city?
Okay, I thought we were going to talk about bicycles, but lighting it is. Lighting is important. It is something to be aware of. We have to, white light, yellow light, I don't know enough about the range and how that would affect visibility. Just being honest. I know kelvins are important. I know that white light is much harsher. But with all that, we need to make sure that our lighting is at a human scale, that it's down low so that we can protect our night sky and protect our migrating birds and our nocturnal animals, because that lighting is huge in the decline in the populations of our migratory animals. So I'd want to make sure that we were protecting them and also providing lighting that works on a human scale. And how that works is it's lower lighting, lights that are placed under the tree canopy and that have a covered top. So yes, I think we definitely need more lighting.
Thank you. Oscar, same question to you about your plans for promoting more lighting.
Thank you very much. Knowing as a city, we are actually moving towards LED lights in all of our parks. Anytime something is done or completed in a park that changes, usually we begin to change the lights, that being LED lights. We started a few years back right over East Park, and the success that came from East Park, because at night the park was lit and people felt safe, is something that we slowly but surely continue moving on. Same thing when we work with traffic lights. Whenever something new is put on, for example, Channel Islands and Giesler, LED lights are put above the traffic lights. And that's something that's going to take time, but it's something that the city is going towards. And if this particular student has questions or issues concerning a particular park or area, then by all means, please let me know, and we could get that on the list. If it's the Southern California Edison lights, then we could work with them as well.
Thank you. Daniel, same question.
Thank you for the question. Piggybacking off of Madrigal's, the city has been working in updating the lights. Unfortunately, there are light poles that belong to the Edison, which means now we have to be a partner with Edison in order to get those light bulbs changed. Me and my brothers, we ride one wheels. If you don't know what a one wheel it is, it's a kind of like a skateboard with a giant wheel in the middle. We go throughout Oxnard, from all the way down from Port Nimi all the way to North Oxnard, and lighting throughout our entire community is a problem. There's been near misses, even if we're in the bike lanes. This is an issue for our community. So if we have those members of our community that ride their bike or even go out for a walk with their families, they are at risk every single day and night. So we need to make sure that we're being proactive when we're updating our light bulbs, whether it's in our parks, whether it's on our streets. We just need to be very, very proactive in partnerships. Thank you.
Arthur, same question.
Yeah, yes. So when it comes to streetlights, yes, I am supportive of getting more LED lights for South Oxnard. We do have the oldest infrastructure in the city. Most of our neighborhoods were made before Prop 13 went into effect and Melrose taxes became a thing for the state of California. So yes, there is definitely a level of inequality when we don't have that Melrose tax to support South Oxnard lighting, but since being elected, I was able to work with Councilmember Basua, where we were able to allocate $600,000 to improving the lighting for our South Oxnard Center, for our youth at the South Oxnard Library, and our seniors at their senior center. And actually, one of the items I've been talking with staff is to redo our dawn to dusk policy at our parks, because once we do that, we can actually start talking about bringing in proper lighting for our parks for seniors that start walking at 5 a.m. and kids that are playing soccer until 8 p.m. at night. Thank you.
Thank you. And Gabriella, your views on improving lighting?
Yes, I definitely agree about having LED lights and making sure that we have an initiative that can have high efficiency lightings. I also just want to share that I constantly am putting tickets of 311 on the lighting, the street lights that go out in front of my house. And I think that if we can educate our youth to be, we're eyes and ears everywhere. So just reporting those lights that are out and to make sure that we're fixing them and we have proper lighting. I also, even motion censored lights. I'm walking right now, talking to all our neighbors, and it does get pretty dark pretty soon. So I definitely appreciate the question from the youth. And I think it's very important that our infrastructure, as we continue to grow and we continue to build, then we work with our local unions to make sure that it's green light, green in terms of efficiency and environmentally sound growth, and making sure that we have sustainable growth. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll wrap up with you, Michaela.
There are still many neighborhoods in our community in District 6 that are impacted by the lack of lighting. I've seen many of our community members going door to door talk about many families being affected by vehicle accidents, bicycle hits in our community, and many of our young people depend on bicycles to be able to enjoy the extracurricular activities of our community. So to ensure that the public safety of our community is a continuous priority, I will definitely be a champion for increased lighting in our area. And I think it's important to continue to build off of those partnerships and look at ways and strategies to bring in more lighting for our community. And I'm proud to continue to work with the city council members on the dais to do just that.
Thank you. And we're going to begin the next question with you, Gabriella. According to the Ventura County Star, Oxnard has been ranked poorly as far as support for LGBTQ services and issues. As a future or current city council member, how will you support those nonprofits and others providing services? What's your view on the best way to support our LGBTQ community and youth in particular?
I think it's important that we are all very vocal about being an ally, being a supporter. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Stonewall Democrats, and on campus, off campus, and throughout my life, I've always been very open about making sure that we're inclusive of communities from different walks of life. And as a person who's been at the forefront of ensuring that folks are seen, they're viewed, at Oxnard College, we raised the progress flag just a few days before the city of Oxnard did, but I'm very proud that the city of Oxnard is being vocal and sharing that we too stand by the LGBTQ community. So it's not enough to say it. Our actions speak louder than our words. I do know that we have local groups like Diversity Collective. We have groups like Oxnard LGBTQ. At the Carnegie, we bring the rainbow to life, but it goes beyond just a pride celebration in June. It has to be throughout the year, and we have to be very open about our support to the LGBTQ community.
Thank you. Oscar, same question.
Thank you very much. Overall, I do truly believe that we need to do our part that no group feels marginalized or feels that they are not taken into account in the city of Oxnard. Being a council member, that is part of your responsibility. You have to take into account, work with groups like Diversity Collective, which I know the city does work with. And like was previously stated, it's more than just an event. It's more than just a month. It has to be something that is done not only throughout the year, but it just becomes a common practice. We are here to serve all Oxnard residents. And by that, it truly has to be all Oxnard residents. We are there to help. We are the voice of the community, so we have to do our part to help everybody out. Thank you.
Thank you. Michaela, same question to you about supporting LGBT community.
I will always be a champion for our LGBTQ community members, making sure that the safety and well-being of our community is at the forefront of all decision-making. I think that in order to ensure that our community also is aware that we are a welcoming and safe community for our LGBTQ members. As many of you might know, District 6 was impacted by a tragic loss. I was in proximity to the loss of our LGBTQ member in 2008. And so this is a very serious concern for me. I do this every day in my job, working with young people in District 6 to make sure that they have the services and resources that they need to be comfortable and welcomed in all spaces. And so as a city council member, I believe we are the representation and we set the example to all of the members in our community that we are a safe and welcoming place for all of our community members.
Thank you. Daniel, your turn.
Thank you for the question. As someone who's worked in education for the past 10 years, in K-12 education system, honestly, Oxnard, when I talk about Oxnard, I talk about how we're so diverse, we're so inclusive, we're so welcoming to people, but then we hear things like this and then it makes you think, where did we drop the ball at? And how do we pick it up and how do we address it? I believe working with partnerships, the local organizations of the LGBTQ community, bringing them together into the conversation, hearing their concerns and figuring out a plan and a pathway in order to address those concerns and make everyone welcome into our community. I have family, I have friends, I have coworkers who are part of that community. I support them, I stand by them. And honestly, the reality is we can't go backwards, plain and simple. They're here. We're all here. This is our community, and we should all feel welcome in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And Angela, please share with us your plans.
My plans?
Well, share with us your views on how you can best support the LGBTQ community.
We have to do everything that everyone to my right said and more. I have a very close family and friends who are part of that community, and I've seen firsthand some of the challenges that they go through and the questions that they're asked and which the pronouns to use and the hate that comes from other people or the ignorance on what that means and how to work it and how to navigate it and the generational confusion. And we just need to stop and take a breath and look at everyone and say, this is Oxnard. This is who we are. That you are a special person, and we're going to celebrate you, and we're going to make sure that you are safe in every room that you walk into, and that you're accepted for who you are and how you want to be, and not how people want to perceive you. So I think providing safe spaces and celebrating our community is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Arthur, policies the city can put in place to support LGBTQ?
Yes, as an openly bisexual man, I am supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. You know, we've done our proclamations and we've risen the flag, but you know what? Some people say that is the beginning. And I would say it does take a big stance as a city to do that when there's even departments in the city of LA that still refuse to recognize Pride Month. You know, I have been supportive of Diversity Collective. I've gone to Oxnard Pride to support our local youth, but also I think it's very important to recognize that our senior service staff has also worked with the Aging Coalition for LGBTQ plus seniors, because those are generations of people who had to, you know, stay in the closet for years, for decades, and couldn't be true to themselves. So always happy to support our residents and the LGBTQ community. Thank you.
doing it all tonight. Okay, candidates, we're going to start with you, Angela. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the arts and creativity in the community, and specifically the Carnegie Museum. So share with us your interest, your commitment to the restoration of the Carnegie Museum and the art that is stored there. Have you ever taken a tour of the museum and seen the current condition? Angela, you're up first.
I've seen the current condition of the exterior of the Carnegie, and it is atrocious. It is in a homeless encampment. There's a burn scar. The city has taken the crown jewel of our community and turned it into blight through neglect. So the first thing that I would like to see is I'd like to see it cleaned up and opened up. And we can do this in a variety of different ways. We can showcase our local art collection, and we can use the space as for civic engagement and through art classes and making it part of the downtown arts hub. I am the chair of the Downtown Merchants Association, DOYA. I keep getting those two mixed up. It's the same thing. But we do an art walk in the downtown every 4 times a year, and we'd like to have that expand and turn downtown into an arts hub where you're tripping over galleries and creative spaces for our local art community to be celebrated.
Thank you, Angela. And Gabriella, your turn on the Carnegie.
Yes, I have not taken a tour per se. The last time I was inside the Carnegie was in 2012 when the Salsa Festival was hosted outside, and we gathered in a reception in there. I know it's not an enormous space in terms of a venue. I do know that I went to a neighborhood council meeting not too long ago, and they shared that the issue is a lot more complicated than displaying the art, because there's human remains in that space that need to properly be cared for and returned to their original peoples. And I take that very seriously. However, something that I want to highlight with not only the Carnegie, but many other places in downtown is that every time we tighten our belt, District 4 and other communities take the brunt. So our zip code shouldn't determine how much you have to take the burden of the city struggling with the budget. And unfortunately, once we start tightening our belt and cutting things, it's very, very hard to turn that corner and say, this is important enough because. And one prime example is like the Gold Wings Museum, right? As a kid, I remember going there and how vibrant it was.
Going to have to stop you there. Oscar, share with us your views on the Carnegie Museum.
Thank you very much. As previously stated, the Carnegie closed in the city of Oxnard in 2019. It was due to the $9 million shortfall that we had that particular year. And it's been one of the last things that has not come back since 2019. Since then, I was one of 2 council members that served on the Carnegie board. So the last time I was in the Carnegie was actually after the vote. So it was July of 2019 that I was there. I know the current condition obviously is not up to standard. There needs some major TLC in the building. Last September 2023, we did have a committee meeting, which I serve on the committee, talking about reopening the Carnegie as an art center. We had a variety of different groups. There was a lot of discussion back and forth, and that's kind of where we've been. I know the art is there. It's in good condition. People have actually walked through it.
Thank you. Michaela, same question.
Yes, arts and culture is a major priority and it needs to be invested in our community. Our residents and our youth deserve to have state-of-the-art opportunities. And we also need to be partnering and collaborating with local artists to make sure that we have artwork in South Oxnard and District 6 that is reflective in a representation of our community. I know at the county level, there's many grant opportunities for local artists to tap into. And I think that it's important as a city council member to make sure that our local artists are aware of these opportunities to tap in. Again, I think that Oxnard is such a beautiful place to live in because we have so many talented artists, and I think that we need to continue to invest in our local artists to be able to create projects in South Oxnard and citywide. And I will definitely work collaboratively with our artists and our local organizations to make sure that those projects are prioritized in our area.
Thank you. Arthur?
Yes. So yes, and it was a disappointment back in 2019 when the Carnegie was closed due to major budget cuts. But moving forward, since being on the council, I was supportive of funding a seismic study for the Carnegie Art Museum. This building is decades old, and we have to make sure that it is properly has proper integrity. The building of integrity is up to code, so that way we can occupy it in the future. But also, as a council member, I was also supportive of appointing local muralist Lisa Torres to the Cultural Arts Commission, and also have been able to take tour of some of our housing authority property with our city staff of local projects that we have received through grants with the California Arts Council. So those are some of the things that I think moving forward, since we bought the former Citibank building on Saviors and Challenge Boulevard, looking forward to see how we can brighten it up in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel, share with us your views on Carnegie and how you might help with restoration.
Thank you for the question. I'm 35 years old. So let's walk back in time to when I was 7 years old, attended Harrington Elementary School and the after-school program, going on a field trip to the Carnegie Art Museum. As a 7-year-old, walking up to those steps, it was the best feeling because that building is beautiful, okay? Unfortunately, our city doesn't really have a strong cultural arts, but yet we have in lieu fees of over $1.2 million that are just sitting there. That should be invested into our community and the cultural arts. We see throughout downtown Oxnard, all the murals on the electrical boxes and the largest mural that was just painted right underneath the bridge of the 3rd Street Bridge. We need to start investing in our community. We have so much talent when it comes to our youth, when it comes to our community as a whole, and we need to start showcasing that. Thank you.
Thank you. A quick announcement that we are recording this tonight, and it'll be available on the league's website within probably Monday or Tuesday. That league website is very simple. It's LWV, like League Women Voters, LWVVenturaCounty.org. Just go there, click on forums, and you can find this video. Also like to take a moment to thank the students who participated, who attended tonight, and Ms. Reiko Evans from the Oxnard Union High School District that helped put this together. It was really a bonus to have the student participation tonight. We're going to begin the next question, and we're going to start with you, Arthur. Let's talk about your views on city staff and the city manager. Are you supportive of the city manager and the team in place? Would you make changes? What happens when you don't agree with the city manager?
Yes. So looking at the whole picture of the city of Oxnard, Mr. Nguyen started here in 2018, and you look at 2019, we had that $9.1 million budget. And you fast forward 5 years, we are now looking at a potential $35 million surplus for the 24-25 fiscal year. That right there took a lot of hard work, not just from the city manager, but the team he had to develop in order to get us there. Like, I would say people used to think Oxnard was the laughingstock. That is not the case anymore. And even just last month at our meeting, we had about 10 people come out in support of the work the city manager has done for the city of Oxnard. And I do have my own personal disagreements with him, and that's okay. And he has 7 bosses to talk to, and you know what? We have our differences, but he does take my words serious when we speak. Thank you.
Thank you. And Oscar, your views on the city staff and the city manager?
Thank you very much. As previously stated, city manager began here in the summer of 2018. Since then, through different viewpoints, through different disagreements, he came in here with a plan, and that plan has gotten us a $35 million surplus 6 years later. Now, do you always agree? Do I always agree with the city manager? The answer is no. But through that time, he has helped me a lot to see things in different perspectives and see how, well, this idea may work, but have you seen it this way? Just recently, through his hard work and dedication and staff's dedication, we have a $500,000 grant to help out fix up the park in La Colonia. And that's through his different ways of thinking and seeing things that, don't look at not just the present, but look at the future. And for that, I'm actually very thankful. So thank you.
Angela, share with us your views on the current city staff and the manager.
As a Parks and Recreation Commissioner, I get to work with city staff a lot within the Parks and Recreation, and I really support them. They are very hardworking people. I think that we need to make sure that we are competitive so that we can retain our really good staff and that they come to an environment that is welcoming and friendly and that they feel valued. We tend to get really frustrated when something goes wrong and we point the finger. But what we have to do is develop teamwork. And I think it's the city manager's job is to make sure that his staff feels valued, feels appreciated, and is paid appropriately and competitively. Mr. Nguyen and I, we go back and forth. Sometimes we agree and sometimes we strongly disagree. And we can sit across the table and argue like siblings. And at the end of it, sometimes I get my way, sometimes he gets his way, but accountability matters. Thank you.
Thank you. And Daniel, let's hear your views on the city staff and manager.
Thank you for the question. As I already mentioned, over the past 10 years of being involved in our city, I've had that opportunity to have conversations with our city staff. And many of them are still here today from back then. And when I speak with them, they all have the same common goal, and that is how to take Oxnard to the next level, how to improve the quality of life of our residents. It's the same goal that I've had since the very beginning. So I believe that our city staff is doing a great job. They have the interests of our community, and it's staff from the low-level position all the way to our executive staff. We have so many of them that actually live in the city of Oxnard. So they know how important it is, the quality of life of Oxnard and the health and well-being of Oxnard is. And our city manager, again, he came in during a time where we were in a financial crisis and had to clean it up and things were cut. Thank you.
Gabriella, same question.
I think that many times we expect people to do a lot with very little. And I think it's very important that we evaluate the structure, the bandwidth, and the expectations that we have of folks, not just the city manager, but the different departments and what we are asking of these employees who are in service to their community. Most folks that I've talked to, their heart is in the right place. They want to do a good job. They want to serve Oxnard. Regardless of personal opinions of folks, I think we need to make decisions based on the needs of this community and not on personalities or on my likeness of somebody or not. I can work with anybody, even in a respectful way, find middle ground and compromise. I have seen a city manager go up to bat in various spaces for this community, for the needs so that we can pull down funding, let's say from Community College District. I've seen it come through with Parks and Recs and other things. So I think it's very important we make decisions based on needs and infrastructure.
Thank you. Michaela, we'll wrap up with you.
Yes, as a representation of the city of Oxnard, I think the way that our retention and training is very crucial to the way that we operate. And I think retention is a huge one, making sure that all of our residents that are employed by the city of Oxnard have the support that they need to be successful in their jobs and empowering them to be able to be successful in their roles. As I mentioned, I think that it's important to be able to work collaboratively with all of our employees as well as the people on the dais. And so for me, it's about building bridges and not burning bridges. And so for me, I definitely think it's important that we put the people first as well and make sure that at all facets of the decision-making process that they are front and center. So I look forward to working collaboratively to do just that.
Thank you. And Michaela, we'll stay with you for the next question. There's several questions about development. I think we can handle these in one question. So Michaela, share with us your views about two projects that we've been hearing about for years. One is the marina and the harbor development. How do you feel about that? Should it be residences, restaurants? And then what about the Oxnard Sports Park that's been talked about forever?
Yeah, definitely. I think that economic opportunities and being able to offer economic resources for our community to generate our local tax economy is important. And I think that those two projects do just that. For me, it's a priority to make sure that all of those projects are also tied to project labor agreements and are collaborated with our local workforce to ensure that our jobs remain here local. I know many of our residents have to commute long distances for jobs, and being able to ensure that our projects are developed by our local labor workforce is an important piece. I definitely agree that these projects are going to bring more of a vibrancy to our community and are going to offer extracurricular activities and things for people to do over the weekends and to spend time with their families. And so definitely, I'm excited to see these projects go into fruition.
Thank you. Angela, share with us your views on the sports park and the Marina Harbor developments.
I'm going to start with Sports Park. The citizens of Oxnard spoke loud and clearly with the park's master plan that we need more soccer fields, and soccer fields were promised to be built at Sports Park. The city went in a different direction and decided that Little League was what was to be placed there, and they did this by bypassing the Parks and Recreation Commission and the desires of the city, the citizens and the residents that put in input for this. So I'm strongly opposed to what the city has planned for Sports Park. I think that we need to look at it from a much larger faceted approach and do something that is more multi disciplined. You could do soccer fields and you could do some more baseball fields. But the Little League and didn't want it. As far as Fisherman's Wharf's concerned, we need to do things that will attract tourists so that we can help stimulate our economy. Thank you.
Okay. And Arthur, same questions, the Marina Harbor development and the sports park.
Yes, the harbor development, that's been a big issue for like about the past decade because there's a division between city property and county property right there. And from what I just recall from a couple of months ago, the County Board of Supervisors did move forward on a plan, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if like they want to move forward on a hotel right there. I personally think it's better with housing in that area. But, ultimately the county has a sovereign immunity. They can decide what to do with that harbor development. But ultimately, it's always nice when a higher level of government seeks input from the city of Oxnard. And in regards to the sports park, from my understanding, we have a current master parks plan that we're moving forward on. And, it would be ideal to see a nice sports park here along Pacifica High School in the near future. I know right now, I think the priority that has been set by the council is the campus park, which we just received $6.7 million towards. Thank you.
Gabriella?
Yes, I think I agree with what Michaela said about prioritizing the growth and development of our city to local employees here. We have to, one of the priorities for me is that we stop outsourcing these good paying jobs. And as we build and we grow, that we're building and growing where we still have access to green spaces, that we're environmentally conscious, and that we think of the Oxnard people first. Tourism is important, but I'm thinking of the long-term quality of life and sustainability of how we're growing. I am definitely in support of the Oxnard Sports Park. Many of my friends who play soccer, I attempted soccer one season. That's one of their very first questions, because too many times this community has promised things. As an example, the old Oxnard High School, right? There was listening campaigns, there was vision boards. We talked about an outside amphitheater, and so much has been promised to this community, and unfortunately, we fall short oftentimes. So as long as we have access to green space, I'm excited about the development, but prioritize Oxnard.
Thank you. Daniel, share with us your plans on development.
Thank you. My first month on the Planning Commission was to deal with an amendment because Fisherman's Wharf, it's a county property within city limits. So they needed to be able to get an amendment from the city of Oxnard, and I was the lone person that voted for the amendment. The other commissioners on the board at that time voted against it. They didn't want to do the amendment because they felt that it was going to lose control from the city. So Fisherman's Wharf moving forward, I don't know where that's going to go and how that's going to be played out. It's a back and forth. There was a task force that was established under Mayor Flynn. That kind of didn't really go anywhere. As far as the sports park, Oxnard has the largest youth population. And when I've been talking to families over my years of being committed to our city, every single time they say, we need a space for our families, we need a space for our kids to play, our kids to run around and burn off that energy. So I support the sports park and I support the Fisherman's Wharf. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll wrap up with you, Oscar.
Thank you very much. I know that the Fisherman's Wharf is more of a like county decision. We went back and forth since I started on council 8 years ago. And, you know, whatever's placed there now, I know will bring something to the community. As far as Sports Park is concerned, Sports Park was promised way back in the mid to late 90s, and it's still a dirt field to this day. Now, as a council, did we make a decision? Yes, we did. Were some residents upset? Yes, they were. Were some residents of West Village upset? Yes, they were. Now, we did also promise more soccer fields for Oxnard, for College Park at that meeting. Talking with city managers, so on and so forth, maybe the possibility of turf, so we could use the outfield during off season we could use it for soccer as well, finding that multi-use for Sports Park.
Thank you. Oscar, I'm going to start the next question with you. I believe it was in the Ventura County Star, it was recently reported that street sweepers are being paid $92 an hour. So it's a huge amount of salary there. Share with us your reactions to that, and in the broader sense, share with us your ideas how to bring jobs and to the city, increase the economy. So your reaction to the street sweeper issue and how to expand the economy.
Thank you very much. At our budget meeting in June, council, it was told that, you know, state mandate, you know, street sweepers, $92 an hour. Street sweeping is outsourced, so there is no city employee making $92 an hour for street sweeping. Through that, you know, it was challenged at a council meeting. I know that there was discussion between staff and others concerning that issue based on the state regulations, so on and so forth. Is 92 hours, does $92 an hour a lot? Yes, it is. Now, based on that, you know, it's more legislation based on the state. With the city, you know, we're working on it, seeing where it's going to go. As of right now, no one's making $92 an hour.
Thank you. Arthur, your reaction to the $92 an hour and your ideas to grow the economy.
Yes. So I guess in regards to this, because they are outsourced at $92 an hour that they talk about, you know, there's wages, there are healthcare benefits, and then there's a deferred payment for like a pension system. So that does add up over time. I know for like, you know, for any union, the more you work, the more you pay into your pension system. That is usually how it goes right there. And then and we're waiting for a decision right now from the Department of Industrial Relations in order to discuss what, you know, was currently being circulated in the media. Another part about the economic development, right now, this is the first time Oxnard has had its like cash in order. So our general fund, our enterprise funds of water, wastewater, trash. So we're actually looking at and actually putting staff time into developing our first project labor agreement to hire locally, hire LGBTQ minority folks and get that process started. So hopefully to be there and vote on that project labor agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Michaela, your reaction to the story about the $92 an hour and your ideas to grow the economy.
South Oxnard residents still continue to face the lack of investment and opportunity in our area. I think that we need to prioritize economic and employment opportunities for our local residents here. I currently do this in my everyday job, preparing the next generation for educational and workforce opportunities, whether it's wanting to pursue a certification program or getting right into the workforce. I think it's important that as a city council member that we work collaboratively with our community college system, our education system to create those economic opportunities and to really address the root causes of poverty in our area. Many of our families are still struggling in South Oxnard, and it has to do with the lack of quality opportunities and livable wages. There are many community members that do have a post-higher education and are still unable to find local opportunities. As a working families candidate, as a person that is supported by working family organizations, at the forefront of every decision
Thank
that I
you.
make. I'll make sure to prioritize just them.
Thank you, Michaela. And Daniel, your thoughts about these street sweepers and how would you grow the economy?
Thank you for that question. When I found out about the $92, I thought it was absolutely disgusting, especially since we have so many of our residents barely making $15 an hour. In terms of building our economy and our workforce, I believe that the city had a great idea when it came to the Oxnard Employee Pipeline. My goal as your next councilman is to revamp that. It was a partnership between the city, the Business Alliance, as well as Oxnard College in order to provide training to city residents in order for them to be able to get interviews for these jobs that paid good wages and benefits. Unfortunately, the community college district pretty much just spit in the face of Oxnard residents and doesn't want to play ball. So I personally have been looking at other alternatives in order to be able to get our residents the training so that they can get into these well-paying jobs. Working with the Ventura County Office of Education, as well as the adult ed programs in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela, same question to you.
As a local contractor who actually pays prevailing wage, I found that this was a gross misuse of funds. I question the advice that the city was being given to allow them to think that that was acceptable. Where was the fact checking? Where was the city attorney? Where were the checks and balances? These are questions that we need to make sure that we are aware of and that we are responsible for. A quick search or inquiry, I think could have prevented a lot of pain that the city is now facing with this embarrassment. I think growing our economy is something that we have to definitely do through partners with education, with local businesses, making sure that we have a standard in the city where the wages are clear and they're concise. You can work with local contractors to make sure that business stays local, and also work with other companies to sorry, I'm out of time.
Gabriella, same question to you.
So when I first read the article and heard a buzz about this issue, I really questioned, and I've asked a few people, and the response I've gotten from folks is like, well, there's probably a bigger issue. And I think it's the trust that the people are putting in our elected officials that really is in question here, right? So if we're outsourcing or street sweepers, my first question is like, why are we not hiring local? Why are we not, I mean, if anybody's making that, I'm in the wrong field. I think we really need to make sure that we work with our local unions who have a vested interest in this community to create those pipelines, and we have the workforce ready to serve. So again, I haven't gotten a clear explanation as to how we got to this point. This is probably the most I've heard in terms of behind the scenes what happened. But I really think that we need to work with our local community colleges and get students and youth, everybody on a better paying job and sustainable long-term benefits.
Thank you. Michaela, you'll be up first on this next question. We haven't talked about public safety yet. So I'd like to hear your views about public safety in Oxnard. And also, if you could also touch on the issue of school safety. We've seen over the last several months, multiple school safety issues. Of course, the city doesn't run the schools, but you do provide the police department resource officers. Share with us your vision for public safety in Oxnard.
Yes, public safety is the number one thing that you will hear at the doors in District 6. Many residents are concerned about the public safety in our community, whether it's, again, taking their children out to play at the park, or whether it's allowing their children to play out in the front. Public safety is a big priority for many of the residents in South Oxnard. This is their number one issue, and I think that as a candidate, we need to always prioritize the safety and well-being of our community to ensure that they feel safe to walk out in their community. As a person who is supported by public safety, I think it's important that we work together to address many of the issues. As we see across the country, there is an uptick of school shootings in our communities, and we need to be able to work collaboratively to ensure that we are urgently responding and providing fast response times to our community. And so for me as a candidate, I will work collaboratively with my partners to be able to ensure that we increase response times in South Oxnard and that our community members
Thank
have
you,
the
Michaela.
medical services that they
Thank
need.
you. Gabriella, same question to you about public safety.
Yes, so I know with public safety, I sit on the Chiefs Advisory Council, and many times, even if the budget is there, it's really having the interest and filling in the police officers or other public safety officers, right? Making sure that we have programs that are training our workforce and having folks go into these career fields. So I think it's very important that we work with local partners, and I am a person who would advocate for restorative justice and community policing and really working together with our public officials, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's police, fire, or any other folks who are in service. They take an oath of office to serve and protect, and I really think that Oxnard is a beautiful place that we really need to make sure that it doesn't just take funding, it takes checks and balances, accountability, and making sure that we have folks who are from this community.
Thank you. Angela, your thoughts on public safety?
Can you repeat the whole question again?
So the question is about keeping Oxnard safe. So as far as school safety, do you have specific ideas about how to work better with the schools to make our students safer? And your vision of public safety, the police department here in Oxnard?
Well, we need to be able to make sure that we have enough officers. Right now, we are short-staffed, and so our officers are working overtime, and that's a lot. That's a lot to put on an individual that's working in a high-stress field. So we need to make sure that we can retain them, that they have competitive pay, and that they have all the tools that they need. I would like to empower our police officers with said tools like drones and things so that we can have an eye on the community that is safe and also doesn't interfere with personal autonomy. There's programs like the flock cameras that will help with this. As a parks commissioner, I made 2 recommendations. One was for parks ambassadors and another one was for park rangers, so that when our kids get out of school, they can go to their local parks and feel safe and have open restrooms that they can use and be in an environment that is safe. Thank you.
Thank you. And Daniel, your thoughts on this? And if I could just take a break. As we're handing out cards, but we're probably going to run out of time for any more questions on the city council. But you are welcome to give us questions for the mayor's race coming up. We'll be ending in just another question or 2. But Daniel, please continue with your vision on public safety.
Thank you for the question. From the very beginning, I've been a huge supporter of our public safety, our firefighters, our police officers, and believe that they need to be able to have the resources, equipment, and training necessary to be able to do their job effectively and efficiently. So that's number 1. Number 2, as a father of 2 school-age students in the Oxnard Elementary School District, I can honestly tell you a few weeks ago, I received a call from my child's school saying that they were going on a lockdown. That is one of the most gut-wrenching feelings ever, to receive a call from your child's school that they're on lockdown. I firsthand know what violence is in our schools. I was an employee at Eel Green during the shooting. So lockdowns, school safety is extremely important to me, because not only as a parent, but as an employee of education for the past 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Arthur, share with us your thoughts on public safety, policing, and school safety.
Yes. So back in 2014, I was a student at UC Santa Barbara when the Isla Vista shootings took place. The streets and the park I walked and the parks I visited became a crime scene. I heard of friends helping victims of what occurred that evening. And so I really think public safety is a big concern. And that's why I prioritize working with our fire staff in order to learn what their career entails, being the only council member to partake in a live structure fire, and also working with the police union president to secure $300,000 for the police headquarters needs assessment, a building that shut down for 3 to 4 days because of a water pipeline, and we're not taking care of our infrastructure. So, and also with our fire chief, it was very unfortunate to hear that Governor Newsom vetoed the bill that our city staff worked so hard on, AB 1168, to reduce ambulance response times in Oxnard.
Thank you. And Oscar, we'll hear your views, please, on public safety.
Thank you. Public safety is the most important thing on being on council. At the end of the day, we may have anything or everything that we want, but if safety is not there, then we're missing everything. As far as ideas, proposals, something of being on council and working with the Rose Park neighborhood, I wish that more neighborhoods in the city of Oxnard had that community policing where they have that great partnership with the police department, and the neighbors do a wonderful job in helping out the neighborhood with safety and aspects, and keep in contact with the local police officer of issues, concerns in their neighborhood. They have a wonderful relationship and something that goes very far. As far as school safety, I know it's been about a busy month for our SROs with school safety issues in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to start closing statements in a moment, but how about a round of applause for these candidates? I don't know about you, but I felt like I learned a lot of different things from the candidates. It was a great set of diverse questions. We learned a lot, so thank you for the great questions. I do also want to take a moment to acknowledge the volunteers at the League of Women Voters who helped put this on. In the foyer, we have a membership table staffed by Pat Butler, Pat Essick, Wayne, Kathy, Cheryl, Kathy Trevino, and then Doris and Carol. So how about a round of applause for all of my league members? And I was unable to get to all the questions, candidates, but you may be interested to know there were several about your vision. How do you see Oxnard in the future? What are your ideas about improving the fiscal situation in Oxnard? What are your views on immigration as far as being a sanctuary city, protecting immigrants, those types of things, and just questions about working with students to give them greater opportunities, plus several others as well. So again, great questions. With that, we're going to begin closing statements. We'll do it in the reverse order. Our first candidate will be Angela Whitecomb from District 4. You have 1 minute.
Thank you. As Parks Commissioner, I've worked really hard to make sure that we have green spaces that will protect our environment, provide opportunity for our youth and our elderly and everyone in between, so that they have a beautiful place to go to for whatever recreational activities they want to pursue. I've been working with Ormond Beach and protecting our local wildlife, and trying to help our local downtown economy by becoming chair of the not Parks and Rec, the Downtown Business Group. Wear a lot of hats, please excuse me. My vision for Oxnard is a place that is vibrant, where everyone is seen and celebrated, where we have protected bike paths so that our children can ride securely and not be afraid that they're going to get hit by a car. As beautiful and vibrant as green paint is, it's not going to protect you from a bus or a car or distracted.
Thank you, Angela. Next candidate is Gabriela Rodriguez from District 4.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm excited to be in this position where I am running for city council to represent a community that I love and respect very much. I humbly ask for your support. I've never run for city council before in my life, coming from the nonprofit world and now working at the community college. My students come from all walks of life, from 12 to 82. And I have been at the forefront of opening long-term sustainable change in not only the community college, but working with local nonprofits to help the greater good. Everything I've done has always been to serve my community. That's why I've been proud to be endorsed by people like Supervisor Vianey Lopez, Congresswoman Julia Brownlee, Assemblymember Steve Bennett, the local county and state Democratic Party, LIUNA, Central Coast Labor Council, and much more. So check out my website, rodriguezforoxnard.com, and I'd love to connect.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Oscar Madrigal from District 3.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. My name is Oscar Madrigal. I've served on the City Council for the last 8 years. As always, it's always a pleasure to serve this community. Born and raised here. This is home to me. Growing up in La Colonia and still living there, this has been like a dream come true. That's why I'm asking for your support for another 4 years. I've always put this community first in my everyday life, even if it's on council or my everyday job. I currently serve as the Dean of Students at Santa Clara High School. So I understand that regardless of district, it's always about the community and serving for the betterment of our area. And with that, I'll always not necessarily put the city first and do what's best, not only for the present, but also for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Michaela Perez from District 6.
Yes, thank you so much. I am the candidate that will ensure that South Oxnard is not overlooked and safety is prioritized. As the next city council person for District 6, it's important that I prioritize economic pathways, safety and well-being, and building stronger partnerships. After speaking to so many residents in our community, many residents again don't feel safe walking their kids to school. The choice is clear. I am the candidate that will bring the advocacy and the resources to the community that it deserves. I'm proud to be supported by a diverse group of organizations, including the Central Coast Labor Council, Oxnard Firefighters, CAUSE, the United Farm Workers, electricians, iron workers, the Democratic Party, and so much more. I look forward to continuing to fight for the people of Oxnard and ensuring that their voices are at the center of all decision-making processes. I look forward to counting on your vote in this November 5th election, and definitely check out my website to continue to stay involved with my upcoming campaign. The website is michaelaforoxnard.com. Again, I look forward to counting on your
Thank you.
support.
Our next candidate is Arthur Valenzuela, District 6.
Yes, so I've been on the council for about 18 months now, and I'm very proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish since being there. We've been able to reduce our homeless population by 10%. We're investing in our infrastructure, updating our sidewalks, implementing speed humps to slow down traffic in residential streets. We're maintaining our parks better, removing the dead trees and pruning what we have, putting in new drinking fountains in the South Oxnard. That's some of the work that we're doing. And it's one thing I learned years ago was from some good elected officials was that if you do good constituent work, you don't have to campaign as hard. So I've always lived by that word right there. That's why I'm endorsed by the California Young Democrats, Planned Parenthood Central Coast Action Fund, SEIU 721, SEIU 2015 Long-Term Caregivers, the California Nurses Association, and local Oxnard leaders like Genevieve Flores-Haro, 4 Oxnard School District trustees, and 2 Hueneme Elementary School District trustees. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Daniel Chavez Jr. from District 4.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting. Thank you to Oxnard Union High for providing the venue. And thank you for all of you showing your civic engagement by being here this evening. As a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard, I have been a very strong fighter over the past 10 years. This is my second time running for election. In 2016, I was the only South Oxnard resident that was attending every city council meeting, committee meeting. I think the city council and the city staff just got tired of me because every single time I was there, I was fighting for the residents of Oxnard and fighting for good governance and accountability. As your next councilman, that's still going to be my drive, is ensuring the betterment of all of our quality of life. I'm not going to need 4 years to learn how to be a good councilman. I will hit the ground running because I've invested my time over the past 10 years learning local, county, and regional government. Please visit my website, danielchavezjr.com. Thank you.
Thank you. How about another round of applause for these?